What's up, everyone? I hope you guys are all doing well. If you're new here, my name is Serge. Welcome to the channel. To all my recurring viewers, guys, thank you so much for all the love and support that you guys have shown this channel. If you guys have not yet, go ahead, make sure to check out the academy down below. And guys, again, thank you for all the love and support. So without further ado, let's go ahead and actually jump into the topic of this video. Every month, there is a board meeting that is held by the NCAA, which is the board that manages all the managers and the administrators in the assisted living homes and also in the care institutions. And what happens at these board meetings is that they will go through and they will approve all the managers who have actually passed their manager's test, their state test, and they will go ahead and approve that certificate for them to be able to actually start hanging them and managing their homes. And then another thing that they do is that they go through and they actually discuss with the certain managers that have complaints filed against them. And then another thing that they do is that they go through and they actually discuss with the certain managers that have complaints filed against them. And what happens is that the managers do have to show up on that day that they're scheduled to show up at the board meeting and sit down before the board and actually go through and discuss the whole situation of the complaint. And us as managers in homes, there doesn't have to be a complaint filed against us or anything. It's actually open to the public. So we're able to actually come there and see what's going on, what has happened, what managers are having complaints filed against them. And we also get 3 continued education units for being there for the full, it was about 3.5 hours. So we get 3 CEUs for being there. And so, it helps with getting your CEUs for free. And then also you get to see what's really going on within the industry and with other managers and other homes. You don't realize what you're overlooking, especially as a manager. And so going there, it actually puts things in perspective of things that you could do better and things that you need to improve on as a manager and what you can do better. And so I'm going to go through a couple of these complaints that were filed against these certain managers. I will not mention any names. They do give you a list of everything that they're going to discuss at that board meeting, and also all the managers that have had complaints filed against them and the different case numbers and everything and the names as well. But I'm not going to mention the names. I'm just going to go through the cases that I found interesting and the ones that I feel like would be able to help you guys if you're looking to be a manager, if you are a manager, or you're just a care home owner who is curious to see what is going on in other homes. And so this is a perfect opportunity for you guys to actually learn. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into the very first case. The first manager actually didn't show up that day. They do give you 10 days to respond, and if you don't, they revoke your certificate. The next case was against the manager who had apparently left to a different country while knowing that there was a scabies outbreak in her care home, or in the care home that she was managing. Apparently there was one resident that had showed up in a cab at the home, which wasn't the prime resident that they were talking about. It was a separate resident, and that resident ended up going to each room, laying in other residents' beds, spreading the scabies pretty much. And at that point, the primary resident actually got scabies from a different resident. So essentially they were pretty upset because upon admission, you're supposed to have, the past medical history. You're supposed to have all this information regarding each resident before you admit them, and that you're able to admit them, and that they don't have any ongoing contagious things going on with them, such as scabies or anything else that they might have, TB, etc. So, upon admission, you're supposed to have, the residents are supposed to have that treated and show that it's been treated and that they no longer have it. And so this manager didn't do their due diligence, and therefore, it ended up with the scabies outbreak in this care home. So essentially, the manager lost her certificate. This next case was pretty common. It was something that does happen, unfortunately, in homes quite often right now, and I know that the state is cracking down on them, is fraudulent caregiver certificates. So this case was mainly, it was dismissed based on insufficient information, and there wasn't enough to go based off of, and the manager did do all the proper steps to resolve the issue. But the issue was that there was a fraudulent caregiver certificate, and the manager did terminate that caregiver once they had found out that the caregiver had a fraudulent caregiver certificate. So the board saw that, you know what, they did go through all the proper steps of making sure that they checked to see if it was fraudulent and, you know, questioned the manager essentially, you know, based off of everything. What was it that they did and how did they do it? And so therefore they dismissed all the complaints against the manager with the caregiver certificate. So that was a good case to see. If you do all the proper things and you do all your due diligence as a manager, you'll most likely always get your case, all those complaints filed against you, dismissed. So make sure you're constantly doing your due diligence and you're constantly showing up to your homes and making sure that, you know, you don't have any of these types of issues going on at the home, and you'll be okay when it comes time in case there is a complaint filed against you or you're trying to dispute, you know, something that you got a deficiency on your license. Now, the next case was a manager who had just hung their license somewhere, which, you know, this is something that I advise you not to do if you're not comfortable with who the care homeowners are and if you don't have a good relationship with the care homeowners and you don't ever really go by there. So don't do that, because what had happened with in this case was that someone hung their license, never really went there. All the paperwork was all messed up. All the Mars were all, you know, there were times where there were certain Mars that weren't even charted on and ADLs that weren't charted on. Had no idea what was going on with the residents. And so what had happened was this person ended up getting fined $300. In the very last case, really, there were more, but there were just specific ones that I just was really intrigued by, I guess, and learned a lot from. But there was another one that had 24 deficiencies on a 5-bed home. And this manager actually got their license taken or their certificate taken away from them just because the board felt like they weren't trained. They didn't understand the role of being a manager, and so they didn't feel comfortable allowing her to keep her manager certificate. So they ended up taking it away. So guys, be very cautious of what you do and how you do things as a manager. And guys, overall, I just want to say that everything that we do within this industry is very important. We need to make sure that we do our due diligence, that we take care of our residents, that we do go above and beyond for them, because we are serving the public and there are serious consequences when it comes to taking care of the elderly. These are all perfect examples of things that we shouldn't do and we can learn from as managers, as care homeowners, as administrators of big care institutions. And guys, at the end of the day, we are serving the public and we can do so much better and we can always improve in every area and every aspect of providing a great business and providing a great service to the elderly. So guys, take this very seriously, because at the end of the day, there are very serious consequences that you will have if you do not do your proper due diligence and if you don't take this seriously. So guys, if you found this video very informative, hit that like button for me. Also smash that subscribe button for me. And until next time, guys, God bless.